So welcome to the fall 2021 session of the New York Combinatorics Seminar. Our speaker today is Arpana Lakshmanan S, and she will be talking on graph labeling problems. Thank you, Aparna. The stage is yours.
First of all, let me thank the organizers, especially Sandra Kinkin, for inviting me to this New York Combinatorial lecture series. So the title of today's presentation is Graph Labeling Problems from Leech Trees to Leech Graphs. An abstract will be say like this. I'll just briefly recall the definition of graph labeling. We'll see some variations of graph labelings, and my focus will be on leech labeling. I'll give you some known results about leech trees. Then I will introduce a pretty new concept called leech index. And we will move on to the generalization of leech trees to leech graphs. And if time permits, we can have some related labelings also, labelings which are related to or motivated from leech labeling. So starting with the basic definition of graph labeling. Graph labeling means assigning values to vertices. If we assign values to vertices, such labels are called vertex labelings. If we are assigning values to edges, such labelings are called edge labelings. And if you want, you can assign values to both vertices and edges, which gives you total labelings. So basically, it is a function defined either on the vertex set, on the edge set, or both. Moving to types of graph labeling. The well-known one is graceful labeling. In graceful labeling, we are assigning, it's basically a vertex labeling with some specific property. The next best known one is edge graceful labeling. Here, we will be assigning values to edges. I'll give you the details soon. And you take graph coloring, which is much more popular than graph labeling, graph coloring. You take any graph coloring, that is basically a graph labeling. Instead of, say, integer values, we are using colors with some specific properties. Chromatic number means usual coloring, and there are plenty of variations of graph colorings. Each one corresponds to a special kind of graph labeling. Again, coloring, as we know, we can give colors either to the vertices, which corresponds to the vertex labeling. We can color the edges, which corresponds to edge labeling. And if you color both vertices and edges, we get total coloring, which corresponds to total labeling. And the one which I will be focusing on today's talk is leech labeling. So let me start with the definition of graceful labeling. In graceful labeling, values are assigned to vertices from the set 0, 1, 2, etc. M, where M denotes the number of edges of the graph G. Once we have assigned values to vertices, these values induces an edge labeling. The function which I am choosing is the positive difference of the values assigned to the end vertices will be chosen as the corresponding edge label. If these edge labels are precisely 1, 2, etc. M, then such labelings are called graceful labelings. I will explain with an example. So here you have a graph with a graceful labeling. I have assigned values 0, 1, 3, 4, and 5 to the vertices. So my labeling is this 0, 1, 3, 4, 5 are the values used. And this induces a particular edge labeling. That's I'm taking the difference of the values given to the end vertices to get the corresponding edge weight. So say, for example, here we have 5 and 4. The difference is 1. So the edge label, the induced edge label is 1 here. Here you have 0 and 3. The positive difference is 3. So I'm getting the value 3 here. So like that, I'm finding the induced label for each edge. And as you can see, the edge labels are precisely 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay. So there's say graph which admits a graceful labeling. It's not true that every graph admits graceful labeling. If it admits, we call them graceful graphs. The next one is edge graceful labeling. Here we are giving values to edges. So this is basically an edge labeling. The values are to be chosen from the set 1, 2, etc. 3. Once we have given values to the edges, an induced value is taken by the vertices. Here the function which we use is the value for a vertex will be the sum of values of the edges incident on it. And we take modulo n, where n is the number of vertices. If the induced vertex labels are precisely 1, 2, etc. n, then we call such labelings as edge graceful labelings. Again, here you have an example. I have given values to edges as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in the cyclic order itself. And that values induces a label to the vertices. Say, for example, for this vertex, there are 2 edges incident on it, 1 and 5. So 1 plus 5 is 6. When I take modulo 5, what I get is 1. So the induced value for this vertex is 1. Like that, I compute the value induced for each vertex. And you can see that the values are 0, 1, 2, etc. 4. So if it is precisely like that, then we call such labelings as edge graceful labelings. Again, as in the case of graceful labeling, not all graphs admits edge graceful labelings. If it admits, we call such graphs as edge graceful graphs. So this is only a tip of the iceberg. There are hundreds of variations of graph labelings. Those who are interested may refer a dynamic survey of graph labeling published in Electronic Journal of Combinatorics by Joseph A. Gullion. There you can find so many variations. Even there are variations for this graceful labeling and independently defined, say, harmonic labeling, in-text labeling. Like that, you can find so many different types of vertex labelings, edge labelings, and total labelings. So let us move on to leech labeling, which is the focus of today's talk. Leech labeling is defined based on a unique property of trees. Graceful labeling and edge graceful labeling were defined for all classes of graphs. You can take any graph and try whether a graceful labeling exists or whether an edge graceful labeling exists. But this leech labeling is defined only for trees. For trees, we have a property that there exists a unique path between every pair of vertices. So this is a characterization for a tree. If there exists a unique path between every pair of vertices, then that graph is a tree. Uniqueness assures that it is a cyclic, and existence of path assures that it is connected. So trees are precisely graphs which admit a unique path between every pair of vertices. So in a tree, total how many paths will be there? Between any 2 vertices, we have a unique path. If there are n such vertices, then the number of paths in a tree is nz2. That is n into n minus 1 by 2. It is this property that we use to define leech labeling of a tree. Here, it is an edge labeling. Here we need to assign positive integer values to edges. We call them as edge weights. Corresponding to these edge weights, the weight of a path means the sum of weights assigned to the edges. A labeling is called a leech labeling if the path weights are precisely 1, 2, etc. NC2. As we have already seen in a tree with n vertices, there will be precisely NC2 paths. Once we have given values to the edges, corresponding to these values, we can find path weights. Just check whether these path weights are 1, 2, etc. NC2. If it is so, then our labeling is called a Leach labeling. If a Leach labeling exists for a given tree T, we call such trees as Leach trees. Here is one example for better understanding. So this is P4, path on 4 vertices. I have given edge labels 1, 3, and 2. There are 4 vertices. So there will be 4C2, that is 6 paths will be there in this graph. In this tree, there are 6 paths. The pathways must be precisely 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So let us check whether that is true. Every edge is a path of length 1 or is a P2. Okay. So this edge labels will be path weights also. So we have 1, 2, and 3 already here. And now consider the V1, V3 path. 1 plus 3 gives a path of weight 4. 3 plus 2 gives me a path of weight 5. So V2, V4 is a path of weight 5. And you consider the whole path, V1, V4. That gives me a path of weight 6. 1 plus 3 plus 2, 6. Okay. So the path weights are precisely 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So this is a Leach labeling with this particular function used as the label. This concept was introduced by John Leach in his paper, Another Tree Labeling Problem, which is published in American Mathematics Monthly in the year 1975. So the concept is almost approaching a golden jubilee. In 4 years, we will have the golden jubilee of this paper, but only very few papers, say I can count by my fingers, only that many papers were published based on the concept of Leach labeling. Let us check why it is so. Okay. So in the first paper itself, John Leach gave us 5 Leach trees. The first one is K2. There is only one edge, so I can simply give the label 1, and that gives me a Leach labeling. Too trivial. The next one is P3. Again, I can give 1 and 2. So 1 is there, 2 is there. 1 plus 2 gives me 3. That was also easy. P4, we have already seen in details, it is a Leach labeling. Then comes K13. So K13, this is the particular kind of labeling which I am using. So 1 is an edge weight and hence is a path weight. 2 is also there. 1 plus 2 gives me 3. Then 4 is there. 4 plus 1 gives me 5 and 4 plus 2 gives me 6. Again, there are 4 vertices. So the total number of paths are 6 and we have obtained all path weights from 1 to 6. At some point of time, someone used to ask a doubt that, oh, okay, what about 4 plus 2 plus 1, 7? 7 is also attained. But we are not bothered about that because these 3 edges do not together induce a path. We are interested only in path weights. Okay, so what we need is from 1 to 6 and that is attained here. And here is the 5th one. Again, 1 is there, 2, 1 plus 2 gives me 3, 4 is here, 5 is here, 5 plus 1 is 6, 5 plus 2 gives me 7, 8 is an edge weight, then 5 plus 4 gives 9, 1 plus 5 plus 4 gives me 10, 2 plus 5 plus 4 is 11, then comes 8 plus 4, which gives 12, 8 plus 5 is 15, 8 plus 5 is 13, then 8 plus 5 plus 1 gives 14 and 8 plus 5 plus 2 gives me 15. There are 6 vertices and 6C2 is 15. So I have obtained all path weights from 1 to 15 and this is a Leach tree. So these 5 examples were given by John Leach in the first paper, in the 1975 paper itself. The fact is that till date, no one is able to produce any more Leach trees. These are the only known Leach trees. So now you can guess why there are not much papers in this concept. So that's it. Now let us move on to some properties of Leach trees. We need a path of weight 1. So for that, I'm sure that there exists an edge of weight 1, then only I can have a path of weight 1. So 1 will be there as an edge weight. Again, I need 2 as a path weight, and I can't repeat the labels. The labels must be distinct. So to get 2, I need an edge which is having weight or which is having label 2. So we are sure if we are given a leech tree, there will be at least one edge with label 1 and another edge with label 2. Now, what about NC2? The path weights are to be from 1 to NC2. What I can say about NC2 is that NC2 will be the path weight of a maximal path. You should not get it confused with the diametral path. Of course, a diametral path is maximal, but there can be other maximal paths also. Even a P3, just 2 edges, can give you a maximal path. So there is all chance for that, but NC2 will be the path weight of a maximal path. What happens otherwise? If it is not like that, say NC2 is the path weight of a particular path P, and if there exists a path P dash which contains P as a sub path, then there are more edges so that the path weight of P dash exceeds NC2. We need all path weights to be from 1 to NC2 itself, which is not possible. So NC2 will be the path weight of a maximal path. But what troubles us is that it need not be a diametral path. It can be a path of very small length, say a path of length 2 is also possible to have the path weight as NC2. In general, it is difficult to settle the problem. So what we used to do is we will look for subclasses and try to settle the problems there, right? So first of all, let us consider the simplest form of trees, paths, which are the leech paths. For the case of paths, the problem is completely settled. So now you know the solution, because the only non-leech trees are the 5 which I listed earlier. From there, you can see that P2, P3, and P4 are leech paths. The problem is settled for paths, so there are no more leech paths. But how can we prove that? Let us have a quick look through the proof. We know that NC2 is the path weight of a longest path, of a maximal path. In the case of Pn, there is only one maximal path, which is Pn itself. So the path weight of Pn is NC2. That much I know. Okay. Again, there are n-1 edges for Pn. I need to give distinct labels to this n-1 edges. So I must use at least 1, 2, etc. n-1. So if I use this least possible labels, then itself the total sum 1 plus 2 plus etc. plus n-1 gives me NC2. So from that I can understand that if Pn is a leech path, then the labels used are 1, 2, etc. n-1 in some order. Regarding the order, we don't have any idea, but the edge weights are precisely 1, 2, etc. n-1. Okay. Now, consider an edge which is labeled 1. If near 1, I have an edge having label k, then those 2 edges together gives me a path of weight k plus 1. And this k plus 1 should be greater than n-1, because I already have edge weights 1, 2, etc. n-1, which are path weights also. So this k plus 1 must be greater than n-1, which means k must be greater than n-2. So the only possible value is n-1. So the edge labeled 1 can be adjacent only to the edge labeled n-1. So from that, I can conclude that the label 1 is used for a pendant edge. Okay, that much is settled. What about 2? We know that 2 is also an edge label. Again, if we place k near 2, we get k plus 2 as the path weight. 1, 2, etc. n-1 are already path weights. And we also have 1 plus n-1 equal to n. That is also a path weight. So this k plus 2 must be greater than n. And from that, k must be greater than n-2 So the only possible choice for K is again n minus 1. That means both 1 and 2 insist that only n minus 1 can be near to them. Okay, so that settles the case. The only leech paths are paths of length less than or equal to n minus 4. Now, the case of leech star, that is again simple because star is having a symmetric property in terms of edges. Every edge is symmetric. I can edge transportation is possible. Any edge is having the same property. So the label 1 I can give to any edge I want. So I'm just labeling VV1 as 1. Again, I need an edge of label 2. So for VV2, I can give the label 2. So now we have to notice that 1 plus 2, 3 is also a path weight now. And now I need a path of weight 4. To have a path of weight 4, the only possibility is to give the weight 4 to an edge. Okay, then I give the next edge weight 4, which gives me 4 plus 1, 5, and 4 plus 2, 6. 4 plus 2 plus 1, 7 is not attained because it is not a path. So next I need the weight 7. Again, to have a path of weight 7, the only possibility is to assign the value 7 to the next edge. So I assign 7 here. So 7 plus 1, 8, 7 plus 2, 9, and 7 plus 4, 10. 7 plus 4, 11 are achieved, but 10 is missing. So to get 10, I need to assign the value 10 here. But this leads to a contradiction. Why? 10 plus 1 is 11 and 7 plus 4 is also 11. So a path weight is repeated, which is not permitted. We need the path weights to be exactly 1, 2, etc. in C2. So the only stars which are leech trees are K11, K12, and K13. Again, that is also a kind of a trivial thing. Let us move on to something else which is interesting. The next paper, in fact, after the 1975 paper, the next paper published based on something related to leech was in 1977, and an extended version was published by the same author, Taylor himself, in 1981. In this paper, we have an interesting result which says that a tree T is leech if and only if its order is either a perfect square or perfect square plus 2. Let us have a quick scan through the proof. So here I am using the notation WXY for the path, for the weight of the XY path. Path weight of XY path is denoted as WXY. You take a leech tree. So that has already admitted a leech labeling. According to my assumption, I have a leech tree and a leech labeling. You start with any vertex V, color it with black color. Then you take any other vertex X. If WXV, the weight of XV path is even, then you color X with black color. And if it is odd, you color X with white color. So now we have colored all vertices using either black or white color. Let B denote the number of black vertices and W denote the number of white vertices. If N is the total number of vertices, then obviously B plus W is equal to N. Now, if W of XY is odd, then from the definition of WXY, it is not difficult to understand that X and Y will be of opposite colors. If X and Y are of same color, then both of them are either at an even distance from B or at an odd distance from B, which makes the distance between them as even. So if they are of same color, then WXY will be even. And if they are of opposite color, then WXY will be odd. So WXY is odd if and only if X and Y are of opposite color. And so the number of paths having odd weight will have one end vertex from the set B and the other from the vertices which are colored white. So that will be equal to B into W. I have to take one vertex from the set which is colored with black, and one vertex from the set which is colored white. So it is B into W. But we are having a leech labeling, right? So if NC2 is even, exactly half of the path weights will be odd. That is, number of odd paths will be n into n minus 1 by 4, provided NC2 is even. But then, let us find what is B minus W whole square. B minus W whole square is B plus W whole square minus 4BW. For B plus W, I have the value n. And for B into W, I have the value n into n minus 1 by 4. On simplification, what you get is n. It's a simple arithmetic. You can see that B minus W whole square is equal to n. So if NC2 is even, we have B minus W whole square equal to the order of the tree. Now, what if NC2 is odd? If NC2 is odd, number of paths having odd weight will be half plus 1, right? So n into n minus 1 by 2 plus 1 divided by 2. This will be the number of odd paths, which is equal to n square minus n plus 2 by 4. And again, using the same calculation, we can see that B minus W whole square is equal to n minus 2. So what is great in this? B minus W whole square is equal to n. That is the difference between black and white vertices whole square is equal to n. How it is going to help? Actually, we have proved that the order of a leech tree is either a perfect square or a perfect square plus 2. Whatever be B, whatever be W, B minus W whole square is a perfect square. Here we have B minus W whole square is equal to n. And here, say n is equal to B minus W whole square plus 2. So actually, we have proved a theorem in graph theory without talking anything about the underlying graph or without using any proof techniques of graph, but purely combinatorics. And that is the beauty of mathematics. So this is a very important result regarding leech trees. Now, this was the stage when this was the literature which I had when I got interested in leech trees. And we tried for bistars. The thing is that for stars and path, the conjecture is settled. Paths are graphs which have diameter n minus 1, the maximum possible diameter. And stars are those which are having diameter 2. Diameter 1 and a tree means it is K2, nothing else. So least possible diameter and highest possible diameters are settled. So let us try to bring the interval smaller and settle the conjecture. That was our idea. So we took bistars. Bistars are graphs whose diameter is precisely 3. So here, the definition of a bistar is like this. The vertex set is u, v together with u1, u2, etc., um, and v1, v2, etc., vn. Every ui is made adjacent to u and every vi is made adjacent to v, and there is an edge between u and v. So this is basically the structure of a bistar. I'm not going into the details of the proof because it takes some time. It is not that trivial like that of a path or a tree or a star. We need some extra words, but this is a picture of one case. That is the case where the edge uv is assigned the value 1. The case where UUI is assigned the value 1 also can be done or can be eliminated case by case. And what we have proved is that the only bistar leech trees are B00, B11, B22, B10, and B20. What we found interesting is that these are precisely the 5 trees given by John Leech in his first paper. So we can restate leech tree conjecture as these 5 bistars are the only leech trees. And this gives you an idea of the results on leech trees. There are proofs which says such and such graphs are non-leech trees. Actually, more papers are there on non-leech trees than leech trees. Okay, so this is the picture. Using this Taylor's paper, we can say that after n equal to 5, you need only check n equal to 9, which is the next perfect square. So for 9 and 11, the problem is settled. There are no more leech trees. From 16 onwards, the problem is still open. So let me move on to the next concept, Leach index. This concept was introduced by myself together with Professor S. Arumugham and Seena Verghese. She is one of my PhD scholars. Our idea is, let a tree be not a leach tree. Okay, fine. How much close it is to being a leach tree? So leach index is a measure of how close a tree is towards being a leach tree. Here we need to take a labeling F such that path weights are all distinct. We don't insist that the path weights are precisely 1, 2, etc. NC2, but we need all the path weights to be distinct. And let Kf be the largest integer such that all path weights from 1 to Kf are attained. You take all possible labelings and find the maximum possible value of Kf. This maximum Kf is called leach index. If we get this maximum Kf as NC2, then such graphs are leach trees. And if we can prove that for some graph it is strictly less than NC2, then what we have proved is that it is not a leach tree. So that is how the concept is connected to that of a leach tree. Regarding this paper is recently published in Journal of Mathematical Sciences and Cryptography. The title is Leach Index of a Tree. In that, we have introduced this new concept and found the value of leach index of some particular classes of graphs. And we have also given some bounds for leach index of path and path together with some pendant vertices attached to it. And some related results are there. Exact value has been computed only for star graphs K1n, and for that it is equal to 9. And even after that, after publishing this paper, we have improved and we have found some more results. Actually, from trees, we have shifted to graphs. We have extended this labelings to graphs. So the concept of leach index is also extended to that of a graph. And we have results that for K22, it is 15. It is the complete bipartite graph. For K22 is 15. And for all other complete bipartite graphs, where M and N are greater than or equal to 3, the value is 18. And for K4 minus E, the leach index is 9. This is interesting because we have used that to prove something else, which I will show you later. Okay. So actually, Leach introduced the concept of leach labeling with keeping in mind some application to electrical networks. But the thing is that the concept can be applied to electrical network only if that underlying network has this leach labeling property. As we have seen, not all graphs have this leach labeling property. And since we have only 5 leach trees, they are not going to do anything good towards the application side. So we need something more. And again, network structures need not be always a tree. It can be a graph. It can be any graph structure. So we need to extend it to a general graph. We need to move from trees to graphs. What is the problem? The property which helped us to define the concept of leach labeling was that for trees, there exists a unique path between every pair of vertices. But when we move on to a general graph, this property is lost. So that unique path between vertices is in general not true. Okay, then let us take all paths. But then the question arises, how many paths are there? Given a graph G, I checked literature. There is no precise formula to find the number of paths even for well-known classes of graphs. You give me a graph G and count the number of paths. There is no closed formula for that. Even for particular classes of graphs, there is no non-closed formulas for that. So that becomes difficult. Again, another way of generalizing it is to take the geodesic paths. You consider only the shortest path between the pair of vertices. Again, that shortest path need not be unique. There can be more than one shortest path between a pair of vertices. Say you take C4, V1, V2, V3, and V4 be the vertices. Then from V1 to V3, we have two shortest paths of length 2. So again, that is not unique. So again, the question arises, how many geodesic paths are there? Again, another possibility of extending the concept is to fix a path of our desire. So we have to give edge weights to all the edges and make sure that the path weights 1, 2, etc. NC2 are attained, where we are free to choose the path between the vertices X and Y. Let there be a path from X to Y of weight 5 and another path of weight 8. I will choose one among them. That's purely my choice to ensure that the path weights are precisely 1, 2, etc. NC2. So that is also a possibility. So we thought of all these possible ways of extending the concept to Leech graphs. And initially, we took the first one, the first way of generalizing it, and checked whether there exist such graphs. If again there do not exist such graphs, then there is no use for that. We can apply only if we can find graphs which admits such labelings. So we started with cycles. The first question is, how many paths are there in a cycle? Luckily for cycles, what we can say is that between every pair of vertices, there are exactly 2 paths. So the total number of paths will be 2 into NC2. That is n into n minus 1 paths will be there. You give me any cycle, I can find n into n minus 1 paths. So what we require is these path weights must be precisely 1, 2, etc. n into n minus 1. And here we have some examples. Say the smallest cycle is C3. C3 luckily admits a Leech labeling. Here I have given 1, 2, 4. So 1, 2, and 4 are already edge weights and hence path weights. I have this path 1 plus 2 is a path. Please note that the path need not be induced. We are considering all sorts of path need not be induced. So 1 plus 2 gives me 3. 4 is here. 4 plus 1 is 5 and 4 plus 2 is 6. Here there are 3 vertices. So 3 into 3 minus 1, that is 6 paths. And I have obtained all path weights from 1 to 6. So I can be sure that this is a Leech labeling. Again, C4 admits a Leech labeling. 1, 2, 4 are here. 1 plus 2 gives me 3. 4 plus 1 is 5. 6 is an edge weight. 4 plus 1 plus 2 gives me 7. And 6 plus 2 is 8. 6 plus 2 plus 1 is 9. 6 plus 4 is 10. 6 plus 4 plus 1 gives me 11. And 4 plus 6 plus 2 gives me 12. 4 into 3 is 12. So I have obtained all path weights. Another interesting point is that when coming to Leech cycle, this labeling need not be unique. For C4, here I have a different labeling. You can easily check, easily verify that this is a Leech labeling. Okay, so 1, 3, 2, 7. That is the labels which I have used cyclically for the edges, and all path weights from 1 to 12 are attained. Again, I have labelings for C5. I have labeling for C6, like that. Okay. But I don't have a general result for CN. Is CN a Leech cycle or not? That is an open question. I don't know. What observations we have regarding Leech cycles is that sum of edge weights is equal to 2 into NC2 plus 1. How can I be sure about that? The thing is that the maximum path weight is going to be 2 into NC2. And this 2 into NC2 will be attained by a maximal path. We are in a cycle, so a maximal path will be a PN, from which I can delete only one edge. You delete one edge from a cycle, what you get is a path of length n minus 1, PN of length n minus 1. Okay, so this weight 2 into NC2 is to be given to 1 PN. Look at the third point. What we have observed is that 1 is not the part of this path having maximum weight. If 1 is a part of that path, Then instead of deleting the, say I have obtained Pn from Zn by deleting the edge E. So instead of deleting E, I delete the edge which is labeled 1. Here again I get a path Pn. What will be the path weight of that path? Path weight of original graph minus 1 plus the edge weight, the edge weight given to the edge E, which will go beyond 2 into NC2, which is not possible, right? So 1 is not the path weight of a maximal path, and a maximal path will have weight 2 into NC2. The only edge which is left over must be given the weight 1. So if you have a lead cycle, the sum of all edge weights will be precisely 2 into NC2 plus 1, or n square minus n plus 1 will be the weight of all edges. Note that it is not a path weight, it is the weight of the entire cycle. And what will be the maximum edge weight that can be used? It is precisely NC2 plus 1. How can I be sure? That will be less than or equal to, not precisely, that will be less than or equal to NC2 plus 1. Okay. You remove the one edge which is having maximum edge weight. There are n minus 1 more edges. And we know that these n minus 1 edges will have a total weight at least 1 plus 2 plus etc. plus n minus 1, which is NC2. And now we know that the total weight of the graph is 2 into NC2 plus 1. So the remaining edge, the edge which was having that maximum weight, should be less than or equal to NC2 plus 1. So these much facts we have regarding lead cycles, but the problem as such is open. Up to C6 we have labels, but not beyond that. Maybe using some techniques we have proved that C7, C8, C9 are all not leech trees, but we don't have a general proof to say that Cn is not a lead cycle for n greater than or equal to 6. That problem is still open. Now moving on to complete graphs, Kn. It is here where we use the concept of leech index of K4 minus C. We have proved that K4 is not a leech graph, or it is a non-leech graph. In K4, total we have 30 paths. It's easy to count. There are 30 paths, and we have a formula also. But for K4, it is easy to count. There are 30 paths. So 30 must be the path weight of a maximal path. A maximal path means P4. So there exists a P4 with 30 as the path weight. The sum of 3 edges gives me the value 30. So there exists an edge of weight at least 11. Sum of 3 numbers, 3 distinct numbers is equal to 30. So at least one of them must be 11 or higher. So you delete that edge. What remains is K4 minus C, right? This edge was having label 11. So this edge cannot be used to get a path of weight less than or equal to 10. So all paths of weight less than or equal to 10 is to be achieved from K4 minus E. And for K4 minus E, we know that the leech index is 9. We can't go continuously beyond 9. We can achieve a maximum of 1, 2, etc. 9 only. So the path of weight 10 can never be attained. So K4 is not a leech graph. This is how leech index is directly connected to the concept of leech graphs. We can use leech graphs to find leech index and vice versa. Leech index will help us to prove that a graph is not a leech graph, like that. Okay. So here there are 2 more examples. K4 minus E is the graph with smallest order, smallest number of vertices, and is not a leech tree. And P5 is the smallest graph in terms of edges, which is not a leech graph. Okay. Now, let me quickly move through leech-like labelings. I'm almost running out of time. I won't go into the details. I will just quickly present the concepts. There are 4 leech-related labelings: minimal distinct distance trees, modular leech trees, leaf leach trees and almost leach trees. The first one is minimal distinct distance trees. Again, weighted distances are all distinct. The concept which we use to define the leach index. Okay, all the path weights must be distinct. Here the condition is that minimize the maximum distance between vertices. Here distance means weight of that path. Okay, so restrict it to NC2, let it be NC2 plus K. Try to minimize the value of that K. That is the concept of minimal distinct distance trees. And
Aparna, I think we cannot see you or hear you. Yes, you have lost the speaker. I'm open to suggestions. Maybe we should just wait for her to come back. She'll come back, I think. She'll be right back. It's raining heavily. I wonder if I can pause the recording.
okay. Okay. So that's it. The value M of n. So this concept was introduced in 2007 in the paper Minimal Distinct Distance Trees. And they call a perfect distance distinct tree as the one which attains the value NC2. That is, leach trees are named as perfect distance distinct trees. And they have computed M of n up to n equal to 10 and determined a bound for n greater than. And they have generalized the concept to forest also. Okay, I'm just skipping this. Here you have an example of a graph which is not a leach graph, but as a minimal distinct distance tree. Okay. Okay. Maybe that I'll conclude. There are three more generalizations: a modular leach tree, leaf leach tree, and the properties are in many sense related to that of a leach tree. That is regarding the number of vertices, the Taylor's kind of result holds good for these extensions also. So the last one is almost leach tree. The thing is that one pathway can be missing. If one pathway is missing, one pathway will be repeated. Say here you have an example. I have 1, 2, 3. 1 plus 2 also gives me 3. So 3 is repeated. 4. 3 plus 1 is 4. 3 plus 2 is 5. 6 is missing. 7 is here. 7 plus 1 is 8. And 7 plus 2 is 9. 7 plus 3 is 10. So from 1 to 10, 3 is repeating and 6 is missing. Okay, so this is called an almost leach tree. So I'll conclude with some open problems. Does there exist any leach tree other than the 5 non-leach trees? You find at least one more that counts. Okay. Or if you can prove that there exist only finitely many leach trees, say you can prove that the order is say less than 1 lakh, any big number, still that collection will be finite. If you can prove that, that is also good. And finding Leach index of various graph classes is an open question. Characterization problem of Leach graphs is also open. And at least find some classes of Leach graphs. That is also an interesting question. And these open problems are related to Leach-related labelings. Determine the exact value of M of n. We have bounds, but determining the exact value of M of n is open, or even finding better bounds for M of n is open. For modular Leach trees that I didn't explain, identify modular Leach trees of order greater than 8. Up to 8, we have examples of modular Leach trees. And leaf Leach trees can be generated from Leach trees. All the leaf Leach trees which we know are generated from the basic Leach tree. So does there exist any leaf Leach tree which can be which is not generated from a Leach tree? That is also an open question. So with that, I conclude. Thank you.
Let's thank the speaker. Thank you, Aparna. That was a very clear and very nice talk. So how many papers are there on these?
Precisely based on Leach trees, there are only 5 papers. But for Leach related concepts, say there are some, say less than 15. Less than 15 papers are there based on the concepts which are related to. And 3 are about to come. 2 already got published from our side. From our side, 3 more are to come. 2 already got published. In fact, there is another kind of extension also. Due to time constraint, I didn't go to that. And using that extension, we are able to get more Leach graphs, and we expect more applications for that kind of extension. That is a manuscript not yet published. Will come soon.
Questions? Anybody? Otherwise, let us thank the speaker, and then I'll
hold on. I was actually going to, as I was seeing the end of the presentation and the sort of open problems, I was thinking, what about if I mean the property is basically that there's like a uniform distribution, right, on the paths. Yes. I mean, yes. Yes. So what if we to basically loosen the definition and just say that, if actually look at the distribution of paths and see if it, and we can just study that. I mean, maybe for general graphs, just study the distribution of paths.
Yes, that is a way of trying to settle the conjecture. Many are trying in that direction. But even using that, they are not able to settle the conjecture. Regarding Leach graphs, we have not yet tried such techniques. For Leach trees, such techniques were employed, but no one is able to come up with a proof. Don't know, maybe it gets settled in that direction. Works are going on.
I was wondering if computer search has been useful at all. Maybe not, because once you get to
yes,
n squared being 9 or something is too big or something. I don't know if computer search has got in at any point.
Yes, programs are already been written. You enter the adjacency matrix of a tree, and computer will check whether a Leach labeling exists. So from that, we are sure that maybe at least to say some 10 lakh vertices, there are no Leach trees. But there is no complete proof.
Okay, up to 10 vertices, you said?
Not up to 10, maybe up to say 1,000 vertices, there are no Leach trees. Okay. Not for Leach graphs, for Leach trees. We can say that, but don't know whether there is a Leach tree of 1 lakh vertices. We can't be sure, and computer is not supporting in that sense. Computer programs are not supporting in that sense.
So 1 lakh is 100,000, I think, right? 1 lakh is 100,000.
Yeah. 1 lakh is 100,000.
100,000 vertices, yeah.
Maybe there is one. There is nothing special about 100,000. I just told a big number. That's it.
Are there any other questions? Let's thank the speaker again, and I'll stop the recording, and we can talk freely.